give you a basic understanding of what the colons mean, but we're going to go into it quite detailed on Sunday with Bruce. The colons actually stand for the same phrase as off the. I'm going to show you what I mean here. 20, 15, 45. If I write, some of you already know this. If I write down 20, 15, 45, what does that represent? Lottery numbers. I always get that as the first one. Anything else? I don't know. It could be a date. They're just three sets of numbers, right? Well, in international, there's what's called a styles manual. There's actually internationally recognized symbols that actually tell you what something means if you use particular styles. What if I put a colon here? It's time, isn't it? Everybody knows that immediately. Why? Because we've all been taught that. But if or not, there's actually called a Federal Styles Manual that actually explains that you can actually buy it. Can you actually buy it in Canada? Do you know, Caroline? Federal Styles Manual? No idea. Okay. We should find out. It's called a Federal Styles Manual. You've got one? Look at that. He has one. Great. You can actually buy one that shows you what this means. If you actually read this, I'm going to read it backwards because it makes more sense to show you this. This is the 45th second of the 15th minute of the 20th hour. Right? Or the 20th hour for the 15th minute for the 45th second. So that's so easy to read it backwards because that doesn't make sense to most of us saying for the, but it works the same way. So what this actually means here is Alex of the Muljani. In other words, I am the Alex of the Muljani family, or the clan. That makes you the one and only, the noun, the fact. You are not a corporate body, you're not an entity, you are a fact. In fact, we're talking about, Bruce will explain this, putting one in front these days. For the Alex of the Muljanis. Don't ask me why, but he says it works that way better. He'll talk to you about it on Sunday. Quantums, as he calls them, yes. This is how you would actually sign a constructive notice. And the government doesn't like us knowing this kind of information because the gentleman that has been teaching this, in fact, I've got his video seminar. It was banned in Canada. I actually had to smuggle it across the border. Yeah, we don't ban anything in Canada, of course not, right? Child pornography is allowed in, but we can't actually educate people. It's banned, so I actually had to get it in. It's a 24-hour video. That's a basic seminar that he does. And he actually goes into quite a lot of detail about how all this works in his language and actually understanding how a fraud has been perpetrated upon the Canadian people. The government does not appreciate this. They've actually kicked him out of the country, and now he has to do seminars in Bellingham, or Blaine, I think it's Blaine, and we go across the border and listen to him there. And then if we buy stuff, we gotta just, you can't declare it. Actually, somebody is saying they're going to go next time that David Wood Miller's in town, and they're going to declare it at the border, and they're going to videotape it, and they're going to see what happens. Are they going to tell them, oh, you can't take this across the border? Really? Is it on your banned list? Why is it? I'm a free Canadian.
I declared mine when I went to Fargo to listen to him, and I declared it as Law Procedures Manual. Okay, go ahead.
Good.
That's exactly what they are.
Yeah. But you try shipping it, that's where you run into a problem. Because if they see coming, actually, what has been done, I think Bruce was telling me that they tried to ship one of the products across the border, and it did arrive here, and the videotapes arrived blank. They deleted everything. They shipped it over anyway. And he's actually been interrogated when he was here in last October in Edmonton Airport. They interrogated him and sent him back. They wouldn't let him do a seminar here. Sorry? Yeah, he gave the feds a seminar. That's right, in the airport. Okay, now let's actually hang on. I don't want to lose track of the pacing here with the questions, okay? We will do questions shortly, unless it's relevant to what I'm saying exactly right now. Okay. Let's see, what else? What do we have for time here? Wow, that was going fast. What time did I start? Yeah, 10 minutes ago, feels like it. Thank you, that's a compliment. Okay. Let me just see what else I can talk about right now. As you can understand, I'm giving you a pretty rough overview of this information. For those who don't know about my website, let me give you how to get all this information. It's all available on the internet. There's a free book you can download. I have teleconference calls every week. I have an email you can reach. I have an e-group that goes regularly as well. It's actually doing quite well, that you can participate in. So there's support groups as well all across the country. So the actual website, let's do this right now before I continue, because I'm going to go into other subjects as well, is, oh, that's pretty small, isn't it? It's untaxman.com. Untaxman, because I'm doing the opposite of the taxman, okay? And if you want to email me, it's alex@untaxman.com. And if you want to fax me, I don't give out my phone number anymore because I can't keep up with the calls that come in all the time saying, oh, I heard about you. You wouldn't mind chatting with me for a little while, would you? And 25 minutes later, I've lost a half hour. That's my fax number. So you can fax to me. You can email me. And if you want to get on my newsletter every week, which is free, you can simply email me there and just say subscribe, and I'll put you on my newsletter. If you want to get back issues of the newsletter, they're always explained how to get it, but you go to untaxman.com/freedom.htm, and you can pick up all. I think I did issue. Was it issue 24 this week? Yeah, 24. 209-821-6742. You're welcome. And that is, yes, that is a California prefix. Drives me crazy because people insist that I'm wrong on my fax number. It's not right, Alex. It's a California number. It's got to be 250. No, it's not. It's 209. I have a virtual fax program, callwave.com. So it actually gets sent to California, then they turn it into an email and email attachment, and then it gets sent to me. Because that way I can retrieve faxes anywhere in North America. So that's how you can get a hold of me. Now, I promised you I was going to tell you some really cool stuff coming up. For those who can't handle the truth, you can't handle the truth, you're free to leave. I have to do this now, because last time I did this, I did it at Kim and Deborah's house once before, and I actually two people got really angry at me at the end. They were so upset, they were too embarrassed to leave, and they couldn't handle what I was teaching. I was talking about, and I'm just talking about what's going on right now. And they got really angry with me. I said, hey, I gave you an opportunity to leave if you wanted to. It's okay, take a break if you don't want to hear it. Take a pill. Yeah, I always use the Matrix as my website theme, so I think people kind of like that. Actually, one guy says, oh, that's not professional enough. I'm not going to tell people to go to your site. Whatever. Have a sense of humor. Okay. Let me give you a bit of background before I go into some of the stuff that's happening right now. It's kind of a tradition with me now. It seems to give you updates of what I'm finding out through the rumor mill or through my contacts. More than anything in my contacts, I try to avoid rumor stuff as much as possible. It's easy to find rumors. However, over the last few months, I've been in touch with some people that are dealing directly with a battle that is going on right now to destroy the Rothschilds cartel over the world. They have made it very. I'm going to give names because I hate using pronouns, but I have to give just made-up names. I don't like to put their real names out there. I'm going to call them like I did in my newsletter. Should I call it Ron again? Ron. Okay, I have this person named Ron that I deal with. And Ron is very heavily involved in fighting the cartel. Ron's been involved in fighting the cartel for 13 years. And the reason is that Ron was insulted by the Baron, what the heck is his name, Edmund de Rothschild or something like that? Anyway, the big kahuna right now with the Rothschild family. He insulted them 13 years ago, insulted Ron 13 years ago because of Ron's heritage, his background, his Spanish. And he was told that he was nothing but a dirty pig, and he is nothing more than an animal, and I, Mr. Rothschild here, will determine whether you live or die, whether you'll be a slave or not. I'm in charge of the world. And the reason that they were in this meeting was because Ron wanted to start a bank, an offshore bank, private bank, 13 years ago, and you may not realize this, but in order to start a bank, you actually have to go hand in hand and actually get permission of the Rothschilds to do this. Oh, yeah, they're a pretty powerful family. So they did this, and they were basically told where to go. Well, they decided that was it. It was time to throw the hat down, and it's just like a movie to me when I hear this. So they said, that's it. You know what? Our job is to destroy the Rothschilds. We're going to take away everything from them. We're going to give back. And so to me, I look at this and go, wow, it looks like a Clint Eastwood movie. Vendetta time. So this is one of the main contexts I have right now, and I've been getting information from them, from Ron, mostly because what I teach, I guess he's watched me for a while. He's felt that I have enough, which is I'm kind of proud of to say because I don't use it to my own home, but he feels I have enough integrity and I do this for the right reasons, that I'm teaching people about the truth right now. So I kind of had an alliance with Ron, who actually runs a very, very large offshore bank. I know the name, I know where it is, I don't need to talk about it because it's just out of courtesy not to mention things like that. But Ron went ahead and started a bank 13 years ago, and he has been actually creating, he was instrumental in getting a group of people together who are extremely good at what they do. And they have actually been able to put together a brand new computer system that is a new and separate clearinghouse from the Rothschilds clearing system for international trade, international monetary trade. 10 minutes?
No question.
Okay. I should be through by then. Okay. Now this particular system is ready to go. It actually has been set up by some of the best computer programmers in the world and some of the best security people in the world. They know what they're doing. And now the time has come to collapse the system. That's what's really going on. And in order to do this, Ron has for 13 years been collecting evidence and proof of the fraud and the conspiracy that has been perpetrated upon the people of the world, not just Americans, not just the Canadians, but the whole world. Every country with a central bank has had this fraud put upon them by the Rothschild family for the last 200 years. It actually started in, I believe, 1798. When they were able to get enough information, which has just finished happening over the last few months, Ron actually had his people send the documented proof. Now, let me give you a 1-minute scenario here. All those books you see on the table, that is all a fact of what's going on, okay, about the conspiracies that are happening. The only problem is that there's very few people that actually have the verifiable documents to back it up. Ron does have the verifiable documents to back things up. Ron sent this information. This is where it gets really hairy, and you guys are going to hear really cutting-edge stuff here. Ron sent this information to the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the Pentagon a few months ago. For the first time, the American Army, the Joint Chiefs, the people who actually believe in their country, that are totally patriotic to their own country, they believe in the Constitution and the Founding Fathers of the United States actually believed in. They found out that they have been lied to all these years. And they have verifiable evidence. Do you know what one of the pieces of verifiable evidence is? I've seen this with my own eyes. That's why I'm going to tell you what I saw. There are 1,000 safes that are currently somehow those fools in the Committee of 300 lost this, okay? I don't know how they lost it, but they lost it. I don't know, I'm not privy to that. We don't need to know that. But there are 1,000 Wells Fargo safes currently buried in a particular location not that far from Canada. And in these 1,000 safes, each contains $60 million worth of Federal Reserve notes from 1930 and 1929. Each one. Multiply 60 million times 1,000. On top of that, each one also contains, I'm trying to remember how much gold is in each one. I think it was, Sharma, do you remember? 60, no, I can't remember. There was a total of 6 million metric tons of gold. All this was actually part of the gold that was stolen from Fort Knox and removed and taken out of sovereign United States soil. It was theft. And also these 1929 and 1930 Federal Reserve notes, do you realize what they actually are, what they represent? Yes, that's right. They represent gold. Every one of those notes is redeemable on demand for gold. The Federal Reserve has no way of paying it back. They have no idea what to do right now because they are so scared right now because this information and the photographs and the evidence and actually part of the safes were sent to the Joint Chiefs of Staff on a top secret mission about 3 months ago, and exposed them and said, this is what just happened. Your country was sold into bankruptcy and slavery and put into a form of law called admiralty or statutory law because of this particular system of banking. And when the Joint Chiefs of Staff found out, certain events started happening that are going to cause the month of August 2000 to be a very, very exciting month in this particular 21st century. It's going to start now. Actually, this is still the 20th century. So the last few months of the 20th century, we're going to have a very interesting 4 weeks coming up. And I'll tell you why. I got an email August the 2nd. That was Wednesday night. Just before I went into my computer, I wasn't going to go in last night, but I went in there anyway, and I caught this one email, and I thought, well, that's interesting. So I printed it out, and I sent it, and I immediately faxed it to Ron, and I got a call at 5:08 the morning I left yesterday, waking me up and saying, congratulations, you figured out what's going on. I didn't figure out what's going on. I got an email. I have no idea what's going on. They said, well, Ron said, you figured it out. Now you know. And now you know what's been happening this whole time. And I'll read you the email. I'm not going to put this out in my newsletter, okay, at this point. But I'm going to read you the email because you guys made it all the way up to Salmon Arm and you made the effort. Yay. At this point, I don't know who sent me the email. For all I know, it could be one of Ron's contacts, okay, because it was an anonymous email, no name on it. But it starts off saying, hello, Alex. I've enjoyed reading your info and find that we folks in the 50 states can learn some things from our friends up north. Well, there's a very good chance that and he puts in blank spaces, okay, so I'm going to fill them in, but I'm telling you he put in blank spaces for exactly the same reason Larry says you got to watch the keywords in emails. So he's dropped out a lot of words, but I know what they are. There's a very good chance that the NAFTA agreement will totally be dissolved quite soon. Unless you guys want to join us in the states of your choice. Some months ago, I began doing a little update newsletter in a group of people worldwide, although I was just filtering info and sharing with a few dozen what I felt was quote-unquote real. In the last few months, my address book grew hugely due to my coordinating nightly group prayer worldwide for our common goal. There's a lot of spirituality out there, by the way, and I'm really happy about that. It's important. Many new people came into my life then, and I have now over 1,000 on my own list and reached thousands more through other lists. One of my new contacts who joined our group prayers turned out to have extraordinary connections in the capital of the 50 states. What I am sharing with you is very classified, so I'm taking trouble to mask some of the words that might trigger internet snoops. To inform our worldwide group of some important changes that literally might mean their lives are saved, I was given information about something that happened in March 2000 directly from someone who was present. Hang on to your hat, Alex. In March 2000, one evening, a combined force of the most trusted members of certain military units rounded up the senators and congressmen in the Capitol for an ad hoc surprise session. The elected officials were presented with a drafted bill which accomplished the following. 1. Abolish the federal tax agency, the infamous IRS. 2. Make all banks in the 50 states treasury banks, which means they get to control the money again, which has its own new currency and is backed by precious metals. 3. Put the 50 states under constitutional law and take us out of admiralty and statutory law. And 4. There's a gag order until a worldwide announcement is made by all major countries who are also returning to their own independent treasury bank system. In order to persuade our elected officials to do this, our elite units stood by holding their weapons. Sounds like the Magna Carta. Okay, let's go on. Hang on. The announcement of this momentous worldwide monetary change will be made in a few weeks or less, hopefully in August 2000. Something like this must be happening in Canada too. All major countries are doing this. Alex, we all know that the control of the world has been manipulated by a few hundred families taught by the infamous banking cartel. This change ends this tyranny. In March 2000, some very brave people had a law passed to take back our country and as our founding fathers envisioned it. We will have to learn to be sovereign people. I'm very much looking forward to it. There will be much to do. There will be much to do once this is in place. However, this is a start. I had a very close friend check with family relatives in several intelligence agencies and was able to verify that way that this event has occurred, although these intelligence types were very tight-lipped. Also had confirmation from some very informed world banking contacts. Both groups said it is August 2000 that this happens. If you have really personally close contacts in these areas, you should be able to get your own confirmation. And I did, by the way. That's what I got my phone call at 5 o'clock in the morning. They confirmed it. There will be a devalue of everything. And there's the reason I'm telling you this today. In order to align with the new monetary systems, the expected amount is 90%. But will happen pretty much at the same time worldwide, so what they're hoping for is that after a while it'll wash out. You can't, if everything's going up, then it's going up. Let me finish off, hold on. The hardest thing is seeing the stock market drops because people will be going into fear. I'm hoping that in the 50 states, the elected ones will decide to pass a law that sets the new values, and we can just make this an accounting adjustment, a bit of a hassle without so much to fear. So Alex, there is great hope. And no name. And then I faxed this over to Ron, and I said, what's going on? And that's when I got the phone call saying, yeah, I checked it out too. Ron actually told me that he was looking at this about 2 weeks ago, and he says, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. I can't tell you right now. I can't talk on the phone because Ron's phones are tapped, my phones are tapped. They don't want us to know that we know what's going on. So he was quite happy that I actually was able to figure it out. And he says, yeah, it's a for sure thing. Ron's asked me to come back to Montreal because there's a whole bunch of documents probably that I'll be able to get my hands on that I can pass out to people through my newsletter. But if this is the case, what the deal is that if I'm going to keep track of this very closely, and if the deal is that it's actually there's going to be some serious repercussions in the market and in our monetary system, I would recommend that you buy gold and silver. And this has always been the big thing. Oh, buying gold and silver, they're always talking about it. It never goes anywhere. That's because it has been controlled. There's been the money, the value of gold should be over $1,200 right now after inflation. There's no way it should be $300. It's impossible. It's below the cost of producing it. That's because the cartel has controlled the price of gold in London Exchange every single day for the last how many years. When the time comes and it lets go, it's going to go through the roof. And cash is going to drop like a rock. In other words, you're not going to see cash. The value of cash doesn't drop. What happens is prices go up. Gas is already starting to feel the pressure. And it will continue to go up. It will probably be $3 to $4 a liter by the end of the year. And therefore, the value of your money has dropped is what it really comes down to. It's not prices going up. No such thing as prices going up. The value of your money goes down. Prices have always been the same. Always. Okay? So if gold goes up and prices go up, that means that gold is a representative of true intrinsic value. So if gold goes up 4 times and gas goes up 4 times, then it's not the gold prices that are going up or the gas prices that are going up. It's the worth of your money going down the tubes. Always remember that. Gold stocks are useless. All right, hold on. Yeah. Okay, so let me just finish it off. I want you to, we're going to be careful there. I don't know what's going to happen this month. I'm probably going to have to go to Montreal in about a week and a half. I'm going to be there for 2 weeks. I'm normally there only for a few days. And I'm going to be right in the fray of things. I'm probably going to be firing off newsletters from there as things change. So if you guys want to keep to the minute on what's going on, I'd recommend that you guys be on the newsletter list. Just email me, say subscribe. That's all you need. Don't have to put a letter in there. Just say subscribe and I'll put you on. And I'll keep people updated. I'm only going to be able to say things that I know I'm allowed to talk about for security reasons. There's a lot more stuff that's going on right now than we're privy to. When I got this email at night, I said, it's a hoax. That's the first thing I thought. Okay, I've seen everything out there already. I'm pretty jaded out there. That looked like a hoax to me. I said, okay, that's too good to be true, okay? So I faxed it up. Let's see what happens. And I get the phone call saying, oh, guess what? You found it. You figured it out. Okay, that kind of blew me away too, and I'm used to a lot of things. So when I found that this was true, There's a good thing. This is a very good thing, okay? What we're basically talking about is that after 13 years, Ron's won. And I'm really proud to be a friend of this person, because what he did when he sent that to the Joint Chiefs of Staff a few months ago, I think that's why the military came in. I didn't know that was really going on. I didn't know it got that far. But I guess they decided enough is enough, and they realized what was happening. So keep your ears and eyes open. You will not see anything happening. You will see the Republican convention going as usual, okay? And all the stuff in the front is going as usual, but in the background is when things happen. The stuff you're not allowed to know about. Okay. Everybody okay? You guys not too stunned? Okay, let's do questions. Hi. No, get one that works.
Yeah, no, we have two, but one's on tape, one's for the
Oh, okay.
This is amazing stuff you're telling us.
Have you ever been to a seminar of mine before?
No.
Oh, okay.
I read your newsletter, though.
Okay, well, you read my newsletter.
Yeah.
Good. So you prepared a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. But this was, you just said, this letter, this fax. Are there any politicians in Canada that are actually patriotic and accountable?
I believe there's only, is there, he's saying, can you speak a little louder?
Are there any politicians in Canada that are actually trustworthy and for the people? Or are they all bought out?
I don't think there's... David Orchard and Paul Hellyer. Canadian Alliance Party? There we go. Okay, we're going to have left-wing, right-wing problems here. Relax, people. I don't know. Yeah, there's probably are, but most of them aren't in power. There are people that are trustworthy. I don't know if Stockwell Day is the only one I can think of right now who's kind of halfway there, you know. But he's pure politician too. You know what I was told by Ron? The system is not a problem. It's not the system that's a problem. It's the corruption behind the system that's a problem. Our system works fine. Our democratic system, our parliamentary system, they actually work fine. If we had the government, people in government actually use our system the way it was meant to be used and meant to be operated, we'd be fine. Our country wouldn't have a problem. We wouldn't have a debt. We'd actually be accountable. Our government would be accountable to us. So it's the corruption behind it. So they say, don't shoot the government down. It's not the government. Everybody in government right now, the people in power, are puppets. You know, when Jean Chrétien went into power, he was actually visited by a few men in suits. They came to his office and basically told him very, very clearly that all the stupid promises he made in the Red Book are worthless. He's going to dump that Red Book, and he's going to go back to the way things were with Brian Mulroney, and he's going to continue what was set up. Otherwise, he'd be out of power within 6 months. They would have a coup. He would be out of power. And he's a career politician. He wasn't going to lose his pension and his little bread and butter there, right? So he basically did what he was told. Lucien Bouchard did not do what he was told, and look what happened to him. Remember his leg? The rumor out there is that he actually was handed the flesh-eating disease without his knowledge, and they stopped it, and they can start it again at any time because that's a virus that's a man-made virus. The flesh-eating disease is a man-made virus, and it stopped him, and they told him that if he doesn't listen to the agenda and allow the referendum to happen when the time is right and when yes or no, all that sort of thing to happen when it's right, they'll let the flesh-eating disease be activated again, and it'll kill him. So, do we have good politicians? Tell me, how do you justify that? How can you, it's a decision, it's a moral thing here. It's also a decision of sometimes for life and death. These people are surviving, trying to live, trying to survive now. Like I think Lucien Bouchard is doing it so that he can actually live. I don't know if I can really blame him for what he's doing then.
Thank you.
All right.
And thank you for your good work.
Thank you for there, yeah.
Hi, Alex. Can we assume that the US dollar is going to lose its position as the king currency?
I don't think it will lose its position as the main currency. I think it's just going to be devalued, and gold is going to take its rightful place as the main backing for money again. I think the U.S. currency is going to be reassigned again as a proper government greenback, as they used to call it in the old days, where Lincoln used to do that, and John F. Kennedy was about to do that before he was killed. It will just be backed by gold again. So it will devalue like crazy, but it will stabilize after probably a few months to a year of uncertainty. So it will still hold, I believe it will still hold as the main currency of the world because the United States is still the economic engine of the entire world. So they are the most important currency.
So all currencies will take a dive then?
Yeah, at different rates, at different speeds. They'll all be taking a dive.
Thank you.
Okay.
What do you believe is going to happen with the value of real estate?
Hard to say. I'm as new to this. I only got this information 36 hours ago. I'm still digesting it. I don't know what will happen to the value of real estate. What's happened in the past? It's dropped in rate in value, but it's come back up again. I think that actually the value of real estate will hold because it's an intrinsic value. In fact, I guess technically speaking, if you hold a property that's $100,000 now, it'll probably be worth $400,000 at the end of the year.
What about like uncontrolled land?
Couldn't tell you.
The difference between controlled and uncontrolled land.
What is what to you is uncontrolled land? Are you talking about this kind of land out here?
Anything over 20 acres outside of a corporate limit.
Oh, I don't think there's going to be any difference in the value of land, uncontrolled or controlled. The land value is going to go up because it has an intrinsic value. That's not going to change. It's the same thing with gold and land are basically the two intrinsic values that people have a need for, always will. So it has nothing to do with manipulations within the city. I think in the city it's a whole different thing, but outside in the country, uncontrolled land probably has more stable value for the long term.
Next thing, what about the commodities and price of...
They said the stock market's going to crash. Whether commodities crashes or not, I don't think so. I think that's going to be a little different of a game. I think there's going to be extreme volatility, which is really good in the commodity market, unless you don't know what you're doing. But volatility in the commodity market means that your actual value is going to shoot through the roof, because if they can't tell from one day to the next what's going on with the value, gold. Hey, if you want to get to the commodity market this month for the first time, buy gold. Oh man.